In this video, we're going to review moving from expanded form notation to standard form notation. Now you notice that I have written down here an expanded form number, 200,000 plus 50,000 plus 400 plus 20 plus 1. Now one thing to keep in mind here when moving from expanded form to standard form is that our standard form number is going to have the same number of digits as the largest number in our expanded form notation. That is to say that if we notice here our largest number in expanded form notation is 200,000. That means that our standard form number is also going to be in the hundred thousands, and that it's going to have the same number of digits, in this case 6. Now because I already know that my standard form number is going to have 6 digits and be in the hundred thousands just like my largest expanded form number, I'm going to go ahead and put in place markers for those 6 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is going to help me keep things straight in my head and make sure that I don't make any silly mistakes by recording numbers in their wrong place values. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to start with the leftmost number in my expanded form notation, in this case 200,000. And 200,000 is made up of a 2 in the hundred thousands column. So I'm going to go ahead and just record that digit 2. And here I'm recording it in what will be the hundred thousands place. To check that I'm recording it in the right place, I can also look to see in my expanded form number, to the right of the 2 I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And to the right of the 2 in my standard form I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 placeholders. So next I'm going to go ahead and move over to the next number in my expanded form notation. In this case it's 50,000. And 50,000 is made up of 5 in the 10,000s column. So I'm going to go ahead and record that 5 next to my 2 in my standard form notation. And I can also again notice that I have the same number of placeholders to the right of my 5 in my standard form notation, like that, as I do zeros to the right of my 5 in my expanded form notation. Now I'm going to move over to the next number in my expanded form notation, and I notice that I have 400. Now this is the tricky part in this number, because I'll notice that I've gone from 10,000s, my 50,000 here, to hundreds. And I've skipped over thousands. Now why that's happened is because in my number I don't have any digit in the thousands column. That means there is no value there. I can't, however, just ignore that digit, because that would drastically change the number that I end up with in standard form. I would go from something like having a 6-digit number in the hundred thousands to a 5-digit number, which is just in the 10,000s. So what I need to do is, wherever I've skipped a place value, that is to say it's not represented in my expanded form notation, like between my 50,000 and my 400, I need to record a 0 to hold that place value, because it's still a part of my number. It just doesn't have a digit in it, and therefore isn't recorded in the expanded form notation. So beside my 5 in my standard form notation, I'm just going to go ahead and record a 0 to hold the space of my thousands. After I've done that, I can move over to my hundreds column, and we already said that we have 4 in the hundreds column, which gives me a value of 400, so I'll go ahead and record that beside my 0. And now I move over to my next number in my expanded form, and I have 20, which is made up of 2 10s, so I'm going to record the digit 2 in the tens column of my standard form notation. And then lastly, I move over to the final digit in my expanded form notation is a 1, and that's 1 in the ones column, gives me 1. So that's one method for converting expanded form to standard form. Let's scroll down the page here, and we will look at just briefly a second method which may be helpful for you, especially if you're finding that first method is giving you problems. You notice that I have the same expanded form number recorded here as I did in our first example, 200,000 plus 50,000 plus 400 plus 20 plus 1. Now this second method just involves actually carrying out the operations that the expanded form notation asks for. That is to say, just finding the sum of the numbers in our expanded form notation. So you'll notice that below the expanded form notation, I have set up a column addition question with the numbers from my expanded form. So I have 200,000, and underneath it I have 50,421. And I have addition sign showing that I'm going to add all of those digits together. Now the thing to keep in mind here, and the only thing that's really going to cause you any problems, is that you need to make sure that you're lining up your place values correctly. And remember that in class we talked about, when working on our graph paper, one box, one digit, and that will help you to keep things organized. So once I have my column addition set up here, it's just simply a matter of finding the sums, and there won't be any regrouping here, so it's sort of simple addition. So starting with my ones column, I have 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1 gives me 1, and moving over to my tens column, I have 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2 gives me 2. And moving over to my hundreds column, I have 0 plus 0 plus 4 gives me 4. And moving over to my thousands column, I have 0 plus 0. Now remember, when we did the example above, we found that we had no thousands, and we see that represented here as 0 thousands plus 0 thousands. But we still need that 0 in our standard form notation to hold the place for the thousands column. And now I can move over to my 10,000s. 0 plus 5 gives me 5. And moving over lastly to my thousands, 100,000s column rather, 2 plus 0 gives me 2. And if I just scroll up for a moment, you'll see that both methods result in the same standard form notation as 250,421.